Hello, everybody. You are watching Passion Project, and I'm your host, Kat Margulis. And today I'm very excited to have my mentor and coach, Keri Stanley. Keri is a life and performance coach and inspirational speaker. Her passion is helping women leaders create space to lead fulfilled lives, facilitating global retreats, online masterminds, and executive leadership coaching. She works with leaders across the world to align their life to create the greatest impact. And I'll bring her on now. Welcome, Keri.
Hello.
Hello.
To be here.
Yeah, thank you, and welcome to Passion Project. I'm so excited to have you here today. And like I was saying, pick up a conversation that I had to stop mid-sentence. I'm like, nope, not going anymore. We're going to do this on the record.
Yes.
So thank you so much for being here today and on the show.
My pleasure. Happy to be here. Excited to have this juicy conversation.
Yeah. And so I want to start with miracles, the subject of miracles, actually, because I feel like to a certain extent, pursuing your passion project is like trying to make a miracle happen. And I actually looked up the word miracle, and the words the words that come up are improbable, extraordinary, outstanding, amazing. You know, one thing they are not is ordinary or predictable. And I feel like that's really the space that passion projects hold. You kind of are making the impossible possible. And so, you know, if we're going to go for a passion project, we're kind of looking to make miracles happen. And for some people, they might, like me, might have a hard time believing in miracles. But I know that you've had personal experience with miracles. So I would love if you could share a little bit on that.
Yeah, I love that, because the question is am I allowing space in my life for miracles to happen? Or am I trying to make them happen? And so just like you were saying, miracles are creating the extraordinary out of the ordinary. And there's in A Course in Miracles, which is one of the spiritual, I'm really big on faith, spiritual transformation, all of those things, because that is where miracles occur, because it's actually something outside of us that happens through us when we surrender. And so, and I talk a lot about surrender. And so in A Course in Miracles, it says a miracle is simply a shift in perspective from fear to love. And most of the time we are operating in a space of fear or scarcity or anything like that. When we are in that space, we are actually blocking miracles to happen in our life, and we're closed down, and we're in the I'm trying to make them happen.
Yeah.
But what happens when we create space in our life, we listen and we open and we stand in a place of creation, which is where miracles are born. We stand in a place of love. We stand in a place of possibility. And then we partner with God, the universe, whatever it is for you. Miracles can happen on an everyday moment. And so any little thing is a miracle. So you have a thought of somebody that you're thinking about, and all of a sudden they call you.
Yeah.
That's a miracle, right? Because it's like that happened with intervention from the universe between your energy, their energy, and having that be created. And then for me personally, what I learned was the more I started operating from love and possibility and that anything could happen, then I allowed the space for bigger miracles to happen on a regular basis, because I learned to trust in my intuition. I learned to trust in the space of possibility. I learned to trust in evidence that's not there in my surrounding circumstances. And I learned to trust in that so that a miracle could be born.
I love that. And I remember when we were chatting with this earlier, like it's so true. You can look for evidence of miracles happening, or you could look for evidence of them not happening, you know, and what that creates in the world. Yeah,
absolutely. And what we focus on stands. So do you want to focus on creating miracles or blocking miracles?
Totally. And, you know, surrendering is a stretch for me. And, you know, and when I think about, you know, people with a vision, entrepreneurs, you know, we have a vision, we declare a vision, we're doers. We go make it happen. And so my struggle is, how do you do that and surrender and, you know, leave these empty spaces, and be in committed action? Like the juggling the two things. Because it's not just about hope, right? It's you doing the work too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it's faith, declaration, which is all in intention, and then committed action, which is inspired action based off of the intentions that we set, that allows for not only results to come, but also the space of miracles. So what I always say is, we get to be in committed action, but unattached to the how. And when we put boundaries around what it's supposed to look like, when it's supposed to happen, the way, the expectation that's supposed to happen in a certain way, what we're doing is limiting the possibility of outside forces or even other people to support us, all of those, because we're operating only in the known of what we can come up with, which is really only like 10% of possibility, because it operates in just what our ego has created from our past. Like that's all it has reference to is our past. And so all future is in creation, and it is in tandem with our like spiritual intuition, those types of things. And so all of that opens up when we surrender. So our job is to declare, be in the energy of it's done.
Got you.
Be in committed action, and then be totally unattached to how it happens so that it can come in. What I always say is this or something better. So I'm opening up possibility that everything that I think of is only the teeniest possibility. So what if it's like something better that I couldn't even imagine?
Yes, I love that. Yeah. So I'm like really honing in on not picturing all the things that happen along the way. You've got my vision board over there. So I'm like, should I even have a vision board anymore? Like, is that ruining everything? But as long, I guess, if it's standing in the future and all the little pieces in between are not on there, we're okay, right?
Yeah, what really matters is the energy that I'm in. And my dogs are seeing something outside, so I'm going to let them out as we're talking.
Sorry.
They're squealing and they're seeing animals out there. They're like, we want to go play too. So what really matters with a vision board, honestly, what really matters is the energy that we feel experiencing the things that are on the vision board. Part of why we do that is because when we start imagining ourselves receiving, being, having those things, it changes up our energy. And so when we really look at the law of attraction, it says I think it's 17 or 18 seconds, one of the two, that if I will hold that energy of actually experiencing something, then the universe goes to work to start making it happen. Our brain does not know the difference of what actually is happening in front of us or not. Like, it doesn't know the difference. So it sees what you're experiencing and feeling as real no matter what.
Wow. That's cool. That's very cool. That's probably why I've been giddy these past couple of days, because I'm totally like, you know, in the vision of it.
Yeah, you're flirting with the future as we.
I am flirting with the future.
We listened to a trainer talking on Monday of like, am I actually flirting with the future and allowing myself to play in that space of creativity, imagination, and the energy of it. Like, even flirting has a playful energy to it, which is why that's so important, because we become magnetic off of our energy.
So I'm just like, note to self thing, like just really be focused on the declaration and the committed action and the standing in the future of when it is done and letting go of what happens in between to a certain extent. Absolutely. In my head, in my expectation.
Yeah. Like I always tell people, act as if it's already done, and it doesn't matter what you do as long as you do something that's in the direction. So let God do the heavy lifting. Let God do the heavy lifting. So often the reason that we stay stuck and not have the things happen is because we feel like we don't know what to do.
Yeah.
We're supposed to have the perfect answer of how. And I'm like, release that pressure from yourself. You don't need to know that. What you need to do is stand in the energy of it's done and take the first committed action.
Yeah.
It's like this little, it's like the breadcrumbs. It'll
Yes.
lead you to the next one. It'll lead you to the next one. It'll lead you to the next one. So stay in the surprise of letting it be revealed. But
I
you
love that too.
got to be in motion.
It's a weight off the back when you think of it like that, right? Like I just need to make the movement today and tomorrow, and from there to the future, just get to back off a little bit. Something we talked about, which was very powerful for me. So I have a book that has yet to manifest a book deal. And so we were talking about that and receiving, which really goes hand in hand with the whole surrendering and everything, and talking about the law of attraction and how my inability to receive is perhaps blocking the law of attraction. So let's talk about that. You were talking about that push-pull energy thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways that we block receiving and that we don't even realize that we're doing it. And so especially, and it's men too, but it's a lot of women that I work with that really struggle with receiving because we've been told it's bad. We've been told it's bad. It's better to give than receive. We've been told that like if somebody gives something to you that you shouldn't take it. You should be, super humble, those types of things. And it's not that all those things aren't true. It is that when we operate in an energy of only giving, we are robbing ourselves and others the opportunity for them to give to us. And we are actually stopping the normal cycle. Like when you look at nature and the way that it operates, the bird does not, as the bird's out doing its thing, the bird does not say, oh, I'm going to only give today. I'm not going to receive and let the universe, nature provide my food. It does its thing, and everything in nature has a reciprocity process to it. Like that's how nature exists. And we were made in that same way. Just like I always talk about the ocean, it gives and receives as a wave all the time. Like it cannot function without that flow, and it is in tandem. What we do as human beings is we say, no, I'm not going to receive that. Let me just give. And we don't allow the natural wave of our life. And so we actually become a dam in the natural cycle of giving and receiving. So the ways that this will show up for us is somebody gives you a compliment and you dismiss, you deflect, you avoid, like you won't allow yourself to take it in, which then robs the other person of giving. They now feel bad about their giving. And so that is one way. Another way is we are secretly thinking, man, I wish I had some help in this thing that I'm doing. And then it shows up. And because we feel like we're supposed to be the ones to figure it all out, to do it all ourselves, to work so incredibly hard that unless we've earned it, it's only supposed to look a certain way. So anytime help or support comes our way, we immediately say, no, I've got this. And then we spend our energy in resentment because we feel like if anybody would just notice how hard I'm working, like this happens with spouses a lot.
Yeah.
You offer to do something and then you tell them that it's not right, or you're in that mood, so you push them away. And so what happens is we are telling the universe, we're telling God, please send in support. I want this dream to happen. I want this relationship to happen. I want all of these things. And then as it comes in, when we say, no, I'm fine. No, I've got this. No, I can do this on my own, is we are in a push-pull energy, and we're actually repelling it and pushing it away. And so God takes notice, and he's like, okay, she wants to do it on her own. I'm going to let her do it on her own. Like that's what she's asking for. That's what she's saying. That's what her energy's saying. When she's ready to receive, I'll send in more. But in the meantime, and so we make life hard because we don't allow ourselves to receive. So
yeah. And this reminds me of so many people, including myself. Even when you said, oh, pretty dress, I'm like, take it. I'm like, I still have to reprogam my brain. Like it's still a mental step.
Yep.
But it also reminds me of so many people that are like, oh, so beat down, so tired. I do everything. And then you're like, well, maybe you could try this. No, can't try that. You know what I mean? So yeah, it sounds like a lot of people. And so for people that are having that's coming up for them, what are some steps they can take towards like opening up to the receiving, which is hand in hand with the surrendering, right?
Yeah. So we get to open up to be what I say is a vessel of receiving so that we can actually be a better giver in this world. So, and in fact, that's back to the flow of the ocean. Both of them get to happen in tandem so that in the end, you actually are able to give so much more without the resentment, without the guilt, without the judgment. So one of the things that you can do is practice for 7 days and put yourself on a receiving challenge. And during those 7 days, every single thing that comes in that is a compliment, somebody offers to buy you something, somebody offers to do something for you, somebody offers to carry your bag, whatever it is, no matter how uncomfortable it is for you, no matter what, you get to say, yes, thank you, more, please.
Oh, I love it.
So when that happens, because and it'll be the simplest things, like you go to the grocery store and you buy your groceries and somebody offers to pack up your groceries and normally you do it. This time you get to say, oh, thank you. And in your mind, you're saying more, please. They offer to carry them out to the car. Because what happens is we sit there and go, well, I can do all that myself. Like, I don't want to bother them. When we do that, we constantly are robbing other people of giving to us. And many of us love giving. And if people robbed us on a regular basis of giving to them, you would feel awful. Yeah. And so give others the gift that you so love. And when I learned myself that me blocking receiving was actually selfish and took away from other people, I was like, oh, I can't imagine not being able to give to other people. And so I realized I'm like shutting them down every time I do it.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is the biggest thing. And then I always add in a twist because usually it's uncomfortable enough to do that for the 7 days. But the other thing is to add a twist, which is ask something of someone and then allow yourself to receive as well. Because many times we're not good askers either. And so that massively gets in our way of receiving.
And would you put that as part of like the 7-day stretch, or that's like the cap off? That's like the final exam?
It's part of the 7 day. So no matter what comes in, you get to receive it, no matter how uncomfortable it is. Anytime like somebody gives you a compliment, you just get to thank you, more please. More please. You cannot respond and say, oh, well, I got it at Target and it was only $5 and it was on the clearance rack. No. You just get to say thank you and take it in and then say more please in your mind, because you're making a mental note that it's like, I want good things to come my way and I'm willing to be open and accept them for the first time in many people's lives.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I'm going to challenge everybody on that on social media. Thank you so much. I really, really love that.
Yeah.
So, I'm all about passion projects. I'm all about everybody else's passion projects. Tell me your passion project story.
Oh my gosh. Passion project story. I have so many. Like when I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I have so many passion project stories. But honestly, I'll go back to the moment that I got fired at my corporate job. And it was really the last thing that I was holding on to. It was like the very last thing that I was holding on to, that I was like, I'm really, really great at this. Everything else in my life had fallen apart. I'd gone through a divorce, just like all those things. And it was like my last one thing that I was just really, really holding on to. And all of a sudden it was gone. And I remember being like, okay, where do I go next? Like, what do I do next? And it really was God, like ripping out the what am I thinking? Like out from underneath the table, like, ripping out the rug from underneath you to say, let me get your attention. You're made for more. Yeah. And I hadn't been listening. I'd been comfortable and complacent. And then that happened. And I was like, okay, like, where do I go next? And a couple of weeks later, I think it was like 10 days later, my mom said, let's go to New York City and go see the Christmas windows. And she worked in travel. So, you know, she could just fly me out there. And she knew I needed to get away was really the thing. But she did it in the mom way of like, I want to see the Christmas windows. And so I found myself standing in front of the window of Macy's on 34th Street at Christmas time. And I saw this little kid on the window that had been drawn on the window. And on that, I saw the joy in his face. I saw the light in his eyes. And I saw the word believe written across the top.
I got chills.
And I was standing there and it was snowing, but it was early in the morning. So there wasn't a ton of people out just yet. And I could hear the crunch of the snow. And I just felt, as the snowflakes were coming down on me, I felt like I was inside of this snow globe moment as I was standing on 34th Street. And I remember thinking, it was like this little voice whispered, and I was literally at the intersection of 34th Street. And I thought, my entire life, I have been taking the right road. I have been turning right all the time, like what I should do, what I'm supposed to do, everybody's rules. And if I look at my life, yes, I had a ton of titles and labels and success stories and all of those things. But at the end of the day, it was just continually falling apart. And so what would happen if I went left at this point? Like, what would happen if I was the little girl that little boy was on the window? What would happen if I went back to believing in myself and my dreams and all of those things like that little boy? Because right wasn't working.
Yeah.
Right wasn't working. And so that moment, that day, I decided never to abandon the little girl dreamer inside of me. And I let her out. And so with that, my passion of coaching, my passion of running international retreats, my passion of combining all the things that bring me joy, but make a massive impact on the people that I get to serve was born. And I gave myself permission to live a fulfilled life that I finally decided I get to be my passion in the world.
I love that. I'm like, Terry, I love that. That story is just so close to me and my experience and my heart. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
I love it. I'm so excited to share that stretch with everybody. And I'm excited to do it for me. So thank you so much for sharing. Well,
I'm excited to see how it goes for you. Keep me posted.
I will. Keri, you're amazing. Thank you so much for being on the show today and sharing your amazing wisdom and talents and gifts with the world. And love you so much. Thank you so much.
I love you too. And I just challenge everybody to open up their receiving door to life, and just open up the door so that you can actually live a life of epic generosity. Because without receiving, you can't. So.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you, Keri. Thank you so much. See you soon.
Well.
Bye. Well, that's another episode of Passion Project. Thank you for listening, and I will see you guys soon.